As we gather tonight for the third Order of the Owl Hall of Fame dinner, I wanted to take the opportunity to provide you with the window into the exceptional students that make up the OU College of Law. These students are rightful heirs to the generations of outstanding OU law students that have come before them and will continue to build upon the successes of our alumni. I am confident that they will enrich and advance our profession and that there are future Order of the Owl recipients among them. Please know how grateful we are for all that you do as alumni and friends of the College of Law to support these remarkable students.
Batman, Jim Gordon, they thought they had a handle on this city. They never did. You don't stand a chance. Because they're always watching, always listening, pulling everybody's strings. Mine, yours. But no one talks about them. Not a whispered word is said.
The Court of Owls is a myth.
They're listening.
At 19, I was elected the youngest mayor in Oklahoma and one of the youngest in American history. I served my hometown of Muskogee for 2 terms before being awarded a Dean's Leadership Scholarship here at OU Law. This last summer, I worked for Governor Mary Fallin, conducting legal research on behalf of the state. After law school, I want to use my legal talents to help grow Oklahoma businesses and strengthen our economy.
You've got to keep a tight schedule to run a big place like this. Need strict rules, especially for small boys.
And I most certainly agree.
Who are you? You.
My name is Merlin. This is Archimedes, a highly educated owl.
Educated owl? Oh, say, that's a good one.
I received my bachelor's degree in political science from OU in 2006 before moving to Orlando, Florida, where I pursued my childhood dream of dancing and performing. I became a parade and show performer at Walt Disney World, where I had the opportunity to entertain guests from all over the world at the happiest place on earth. I am now a Frank and Edna L. Corey Scholar at OU Law, pursuing my next dream. Upon graduation, I would love to return to the Disney Company in their legal department and continue supporting the company that taught me that dreams really do come true.
Albert, you're okay. All right, Lilith. I don't like your whole deal, but we need your help to save Ida.
Thank you. Now let's head back. Hey, Luce. You need a minute?
No, I'm coming.
If you really want to go down this rabbit hole, you need to know there's no coming back from it.
Before coming to OU Law, I was a track and field athlete for the University of Texas. I competed primarily in the 400-meter hurdles outdoors and the 600 yards indoors. This past summer, I got the chance to intern at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation in Lagos, Nigeria. I also was lucky to have received the Crow and Dunleavy Scholarship to help me with my goals of being a lawyer. After graduation, I plan on working in the oil and gas industry.
Been able to make graphene on many different substrates. Previously, we could only make graphene on materials that were like polyimide, a particular type of polymer, but now what we found is by tuning the laser a little bit differently and defocusing the laser, which first carbonizes the material, and then we take the carbonized material and convert it into graphene. So what you see here is you don't see ink. This is not ink. This is not the addition of ink to a material. This is taking the material itself, the wood itself, and converting it into graphene, and the laser allows us to write it into any pattern that we wish. This is on a piece of wood, or we can do it even on foods, like this is a potato. So remember what graphene is. It's these single atomic thick sheets of graphite, and now we take these and we put a few of them on top of each other as we convert the material itself, a piece of bread, and so you can convert the carbohydrates that are within bread to graphene, or we can do it on a coconut, so you can take a coconut and convert that into graphene. Now why would we want to have something like this? This is all conductive, and so it can conduct electricity. So what we can do now is we can make electronics embedded within fabrics and make electronics embedded within wood.
So right now we're going to be lasing a cardboard box here, and the significance of being able to put electronic traces on cardboard boxes is that it has a lot of potential commercial significance in being able to write RFID tags directly on boxes, so you can either tell where it's been, or you can put a sensor on the box and see what kind of conditions it's been exposed to. Currently, people are using RFID tags that have been manufactured and they attach them to the boxes, but being able to directly convert a box would be really valuable.
Why would one want edible electronics? Well, first of all, let me start with, very often we don't see the advantage of something early on, but when we make it available, people start seeing the real advantage. So can you even have electronics embedded on food and then say use this as a heat circuit to heat the food more easily? If there's say an RFID tag written onto this potato, where has it been, how long has it been stored, what's its country of origin and its city of origin, and what path did it go to get to your table? All that can be embedded not on a separate tag that's placed on the food, but directly on the food itself. And these can also have sensors that would detect E. coli, sensors that would detect microorganisms that you might not want, that could immediately light up and give you a signal that you don't want to eat this. So being able to barcode food, in a sense, could have real advantages.
The wizarding world awaits with enchanting Hedwig. Imagine caring for Harry's owl. Give Hedwig an important message to deliver, then pet her with a secret code. Comb Hedwig's fluffy feathers and watch her react to your touch.
Hedwig.
She even reacts to sound. The Wizarding World Enchanting Hedwig. Batteries included.
This is the great horned owl's time. He's one of the largest and most powerful owl species in America. As dusk turns to dark, he looks down into a forest clearing. His eyes are tuned for optimal night vision. But more importantly, he listens. The owl hasn't quite keyed in on the sounds, but a turn of the head changes that. Its head spins a full 270 degrees, 3/4 of a full rotation. His ears tell his light-sensitive eyes exactly where to look. His two main senses are in sync. target locked. Now, the owl unleashes another secret weapon. Fringed wing feathers that muffle any flapping sound. It's a double advantage. The owl can still hear its prey while flying, and the mouse doesn't have a clue what's coming.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Welcome to the Simply Orange Tour. This is our plant. These are our workers, and this is upper management. But what you won't find around here is any freezing, flavoring, or concentrating. Which brings us to our end product. Simply Orange. Honestly simple. That's just the Night Watchman.
The wisest of the Roman deities, Minerva was a goddess of intelligence, philosophy, craftsmanship, art, and inspiration. From her position in the heavens, she oversaw all things that required forethought and calculation. In later incarnations, Minerva was also seen as a military figure, as well as the fount through which all strategic and tactical thought flowed. Minerva may well be the most quintessentially Roman of all Roman deities. Unlike Jupiter and Neptune, who were borrowed wholesale from Greek deities, Minerva evolved from an Etruscan deity known as Menvra. She was gradually Hellenized in the 4th and 3rd centuries BC, and took on more of Athena's characteristics as the Romans took on more trappings of Greek civilization. The wisest of all gods and goddesses, Minerva had a calculating mind that she used to achieve her aims. The chastest of Roman deities, Minerva spurned the advances of men and gods alike in order to retain her virginal purity.
Hmm, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Yep, everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that some owls aren't that wise?
Don't forget I'm having brunch with Megan tomorrow.
Who?
Megan, my coworker.
Who?
Seriously, you've met her like 3 times.
Who?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you, well, you know.
This is big news. The allergy medicine Zysol is just as effective at hour 24 as at hour 1. And it's now available over the counter in original prescription strength. So for 24-hour symptom relief, be wise all. Take new Zysol.
Touch their world-blind eyes with very open their eyes of fancy. Pull all the memories of yesterday and seal the gates of sorrow. It is a dream, and yet not all a dream. Joel Kerr and all of his works are but a dream.
Okay, wait. Before I let that continue to play on, let me just tell you that they just expressed some Gnostic ideas. When the speaker says it is a dream, what he's saying is that the world is an illusion. It's not real. It's all a a prison for our minds and a prison for our spirits. And he said that dull care in his works harbored it. Now, dull care. Here, let me play this first.
And yet, not all agree. Dull care.
Alright, so dull care. Now, when they go out to this Bohemian Grove to kill their conscience or to perform this ceremony, it's supposed to be them, killing their conscience. But also, when they mention this dull care, they are also talking about the being that they consider to be Satan. And that being is the God of the Old Testament. That is the Christian God. And so they view him as Satan. He created this world, and in their minds, he tried to imprison them. He tried to imprison them in the garden, and the serpent set them free from the garden. Now, it's pretty clear they mention two persons in this video that I'm showing you here. Dull care is one. And we know, or at least I know, that dull care is our God. So the other person in opposition to our God must be Satan. The real Satan, I mean. But they, of course, worship Satan, so they have things switched around.
In all of his works, as vanished Babylon and goodly Tyre, so shall they also vanish. But the wilding rose blows on the broken battlements of Tyre, and walks rends the stones of Babylon. For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting. For lasting happiness, return to one alone, and she surrounds you now. Great nature, refuge of the weary heart.
Alright, now did you hear that? I hope you can hear this. The speaker said that for lasting happiness, they turn to one alone, and that is great nature. So if you don't know that when they mention nature, they are actually referring to a being, then you will never realize that they're actually worshiping Lucifer out in the open.
Hi, I'm Nancy Pelosi, lifelong Democrat and Speaker of the House.
And I'm Newt Gingrich, lifelong Republican, and I used to be Speaker.
We don't always see eye to eye, do we, Newt?
No, but we do agree our country must take action to address climate change.
We need cleaner forms of energy, and we need them fast.
If enough of us demand action from our leaders, we can spark the innovation we need.
Go to wecansolveit.org. Together, we can do this.
You were so right about that sale at America's Best.
Designer frames?
2 pairs from Project Runway and Sofia Vergara. It's a great deal. 2 pairs and a free eye exam starting at $69.95.
You just pick them up?
Well, I did stop for coffee first.
Bet you stopped for coffee after, too, didn't you?
Ah! So cute!
Wow. You realize owls have sensitive hearing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Ah! So cute!
The designer sales event, it's not just a better deal. It's America's Best. Hurry, designer sale ends soon.
And so that's why they can let you see videos like this. That's why Freemasons can tell you their secrets in books, because they don't think you understand them in the first place, so they're not afraid to tell you what their secrets are. But if you know who they're talking about, then there's a problem for them. So let's go back and now listen to it again with the understanding that nature is Lucifer.
Rends the stones of Babylon. For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting. For lasting happiness, return to one alone, and she surrounds you now. Great nature, refuge of the weary heart, and only balm for breasts that have been bruised. She hath cool hands for every favorite brow, and gentlest silence for the troubled soul. And the counsels are most wise. She healeth well, having such ministries as calm and sleep, she is ever faithful. Other friends may fail, but seek ye her in any quiet place. Smiling, she will rise and give to you her kiss. So must ye come as children. Little children that believe nor ever doubt her beauty and her faith, nor deem her tenderness can change or die.
So, knowing that nature is another name for Lucifer, let's look at these guide stones again and read what they say. Number 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2. Guide production wisely, improving fitness and diversity. 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. 4. Royal passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6. Let all nations rule eternally, resolving external disputes in a world court. 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. That's an interesting one, right? Beauty, love. Remember who these guys in the grove just said they bowed to? They bowed to beauty everlasting. Number 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. 2 times. They said it 2 times. And when you say something 2 times, you say it to establish it. So the first commandment they have, keep the humanity, the population of humanity in perpetual balance with nature. Number 10, leave room for nature. That is their deity that they worship.
Official WGU Spokesowl here. Today, I'd like to talk about student debt. One reason we created WGU was to help working adults earn a high-quality education without burying them in debt.
Make it stop.
WGU is non-profit. Tuition is half the cost of many other online universities, so students can graduate with a lot less debt.
That would have been good to know.
Online, non-profit, and surprisingly affordable. WGU. It's a new kind of you.
Hey guys, Theophilus, most excellent here, and as always, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be talking about a conspiratorial topic, so it's geared toward those of my friends that, wear tinfoil hats like me. But I'm going to be talking about the connection between the owl that you see everywhere, and it's usually associated with the owl of the Bohemian Grove, the big statue, and Baphomet, which you would think those two things really don't have much of a connection. I mean, other than people say that the owl's Moloch, and Moloch is usually depicted as a bull, and so maybe there's a connection there, but that's one of the things I want to point out in this video. Why is everyone calling that owl Moloch? And the only reason I can fathom is because they do child sacrifices, supposedly, to that owl statue at the Bohemian Grove. But if you think about it, it doesn't have to be Moloch for people to do child sacrificing to it. That's not the only pagan deity that's ever had child sacrifices associated with it, And so I just wanted to show you guys something that I picked up on a while back, and I thought it was an interesting connection between the owl and Baphomet, and I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole with this, but I just want to show you this picture, and if you spent any time looking into occult symbolism, I'm sure you've come across this picture about 1,000 times. And I think it's funny how many connections can be made with this picture. I mean, first off, it's not just any picture. It's the first ever picture of Baphomet that we know of. It was drawn by Eliphas Levi. It's the sabbatic goat, and it's very dualistic. And Eliphas Levi, that's actually, like, he's actually a French guy with a French name, but that's his name translated into Hebrew because, you know, he was trying to be clever or whatever. But anyways, he was a huge transcendental magician, all these kinds of things. He influenced Aleister Crowley, like, huge into dualism, obviously, when you look at this picture and some of his other drawings. And people like that believe that, you know, good and evil, dark and light, they all go hand in hand. You'll always hear him say, like, you can't have good without evil, which I would beg to differ. I mean, according to the Bible, God does away with all evil in the end, and so not according to God. In fact, I would even argue that that's all you do have, because evil is just what we call activity that doesn't live up to God's standard of what is right. And so when you don't behave like God, you're automatically evil. And so it's almost like a shadow, how, you know, that's the absence of light. A shadow is not something in and of itself. It's the absence of the photons that make up light. A shadow, you can't observe it scientifically. You can't put it under a microscope and weigh it. Light, you can do that. In the same way, good and evil. Evil is just the absence of good. But that's basically a short form of my rant against dualism that you see swirling about us in occultism these days. But let me get on to showing you what the connection between this picture by Eliphas Levi and the owl is. Okay, so here's that picture again, the one that Eliphas Levi drew, the first picture of Baphomet, and the one that's always, you know, a go-to for all the occultists, you know. And be careful, because there's hundreds of pictures out there that come later, and in fact there's even pictures where it's almost exactly the same as this, but you can tell that it's added to, because that flame at the top that you see there, it's kind of cut off a little bit, it looks like. They add to that and they finish off the picture, it looks like. But you can see here in this picture that this is the original one found in his book, and it's the one that he originally made. I mean, if you go on Wikipedia, this is the one you're going to find if you look up Baphomet. So we're going to talk about this one, not the other ones, because they're later added to, all kinds of stuff like that. So the connection I want to point out is, if you look at this picture, this original picture, if you look up on top of Baphomet's head, and that's why I was making such a big deal about making sure that you look at the original picture that Eliphas Levi drew, because you can see, if you look closely there at that flame right above his head, it's supposed to represent the flame of knowledge, you know, like Prometheus brought the flame to man, he brought fire to mankind, which essentially represented the flame of knowledge. It released them from being automatons to being sentient, self-aware creatures where they were free agents, able to make free will choices from then on. And, you know, this is the same story as Lucifer in Gnosticism. He brings knowledge to mankind. And, you know, the reason it's different is because the same story told for thousands of years, and starts to change over time. You know, when you don't have like a text that's written down and maintained, the story morphs over and over and over again, and people try to fit it into the rest of their mythos, like the rest of their mythology. And that's what happened with Prometheus, obviously. Another place you see that kind of symbolism would be the Statue of Liberty, who is the goddess Libertas, or, some people say it's Mithra. Either way, I mean, you have this kind of like a androgynous person holding up the torch, and it's made by Freemasons. And that torch, the flame, represents the flame of knowledge, the light of Lucifer. You have the crown that she's wearing is more like beams of light shooting out of her head. And this kind of imagery is nothing new. Statue of Liberty isn't the first one to come along and be depicted in this way. For instance, you have Colossus at Rhodes, very similar imagery with the torch, the flame in the bowl above his head, and the crown of rays. Also Helios, and again, he's holding a torch, he has the crown of rays, just like the Statue of Liberty. So all these different depictions and stories, they all converge on something in the past, I think. I don't think that this is all just random. I think that all this comes from somewhere, and I think where it comes from is Lucifer, the light bearer. These are all depictions of the light bearer, the original one. And I definitely don't think it's a coincidence how close the stories are between Lucifer and Prometheus. I mean, Prometheus steals this flame of knowledge, the flame of enlightenment, and he uses it to enlighten man, and then he's cursed for it. Same thing with, Lucifer, the light bearer. In Gnosticism, he brings the light of knowledge. He enlightens mankind, and that's why, the elite, they call themselves the Illuminati, because they believe they're illuminated by Lucifer. They've been given this extraordinary knowledge that leads to divinity, that they're going to become divine beings, that they'll go through apotheosis, becoming God, and they believe they'll achieve this through knowledge, the knowledge that Lucifer is going to give to them. So this flame above his head, you'll notice that Eliphas Levi in his original picture, he drew it in such a way as to make it look like an owl. And you can see here, I've kind of added some red to it so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And also it helps if you invert the colors, you can kind of see it a little bit better. But you can see there that it's just a little allusion to an owl, which represents wisdom. And so you have this connection between the light, the flame of knowledge, the owl, which represents wisdom. And you'll notice also that that's not the only thing that he hid there, and a lot of times people don't really pick up on even this, and this one's even easier to notice. The owl is actually the pupil to an eye, and you see those hash marks that go out around. You can see that forms an eye, that the owl is the pupil of this huge eye. And that means that you have this really old all-seeing eye here, and it's put right into the Baphomet image, and most people don't even see this. Now you can see here in these pictures that some people have picked up on this, and they run with it. They show it in some other imagery. So that's the connection between the owl and Baphomet, and I believe that's why you see the elites in the Bohemian Grove, they're worshiping this owl image, but behind closed doors, they all know what they're doing. They all know the symbology. They know they're worshiping Baphomet.
I believe that on his watch, Gotham can feel a little safer, a little more optimistic. Look at this face. This is the face of Gotham's bright future.
In the Civil War, your great-great-grandfather was involved in the Underground Railroad. He believed that his example could inspire the wealthy of Gotham to save their city. Did it? In a way. In a more ancient part of Gotham. They nest somewhere in the grounds.
They call themselves the Court of Owls.
I've got to find them.
At what cost?
Is that why you're here, Bruce? To ask questions you already know the answers to. Gotham is sick. Crime and violence are so common, the people have become numb to it. We have to force them to take notice.
Gotham isn't beyond saving.
Give me more time.
Goodbye, Bruce.
Judgment is coming for all of us.
Heard enough, members of the Wayne family.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
And we give it back to you, the people.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital
Are corrupt!
has reaped the rewards of government,
The rich!
while the people have borne the cost.
The oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity.
The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country.
And do you accept the resignation of all of these liars? Of all the corrupt?
That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you.
None shall interfere. Do as you please.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The United States of America.
It will endure.
But they're trying to keep this kind of esoteric knowledge to themselves so that you don't know. That's actually what that owl represents. It represents Baphomet.
Yes, man cub. So nice to see you again.
Oh, go away. Leave me alone.
Let me look at you. You don't want me to look at you? Then you look at me.
No, sir. I know what you're trying to do, cop.
You do? You don't trust me.
No.
Then there's nothing I can do to help.
You want to help me?
Certainly.
Okay. So let's dedicate this to General Kelly, the Border Patrol, and the ICE agents for doing such an incredible job. Right? This was written by Al Wilson a long time ago. And I thought of it having to do with our borders and people coming in. And we know what we're going to have. We're going to have problems. We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. So here it is, the snake. It's called The Snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Poor thing," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you." The border. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed that vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, oh heavens, you would have died." She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "I have saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bitten me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in." Does that explain it, folks? Does that explain?
Trust in me.
seek him, he'll come in. If you seek him, he'll come in. Bless your name, Jesus. Bless your name, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.